Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so welcome everybody. Once again, we really appreciate everybody being here. We have a really nice turnout from people from multiple states. So we're really excited about the program and the topics, so we'll get right to it. We have a lot to get to. So we'll just go through a couple of quick announcements before I turn it over to Crystal. My name is Joe McGovern. I'm the president of the Business Development Guild. I also have an environmental company called the McGovern Group. We do environmental due diligence for commercial real estate transactions. We always like to state our mission statement, although it's real simple, but we think it's powerful and meaningful. And that is really to be the premier source of education, coaching, and support for the business development profession. And we do that in a number of ways, and we'll get that to you in a second. Our objectives are, like I mentioned just a couple minutes ago, that it's for the business development professional, but it's also for helping teams, the BD and their internal operational teams, to become better aligned in the business development, for their business development investment and process. So we're really trying to help teams become better aligned and more effective in what they do. We do that through collaboration, through our meetings, through our certification programs, and high-level networking. So, and with that, we seek to help companies maximize their return on their business development investment, and overall elevate the profession and advance the profession. We are a membership organization, so members in the room, first of all, thank you. If you are not a member, or if you'd like to learn more, we'd really like to have a conversation about that. We think it's tremendous value, and it's also really the lifeblood of our organization. So with that, become discounts on meetings. We have members-only events. The +1 meeting registration is a program that we have a floating, you can bring on an additional member from your operational team at membership prices. So you can learn more at thebusinessdevelopmentguild.com, and please reach out to have any questions. We'd love to have a conversation.
Joe, do you want to switch the slides for everyone?
I'm sorry?
You want to just keep pushing through the slides? You're still on the same objectives.
Oh, you know what? On my side, it is going.
So it looks like you're seeing the presentation view and we're just seeing the PowerPoint.
Yes.
Instead of the actual slides.
Okay, so, okay, hang on here for a second. Let me do something.
So when you share your screen, maybe you can have the slide showing and then just select the slide show.
Okay, hang on for a second. Forgive me, me and technology have actually gotten along very well up until the last couple months or so. Let me stop the share. I mean, we can start over again. How's that?
Perfect.
I'm gonna try something. Hang on. How's that?
Better.
Yay. Okay. Where were we? Okay, I'm sorry about that, everybody. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm in a room that I plugged my computer into a larger screen, and that's what kind of like.
Supposed to stop my video?
I think that's what it did. So, all right. So anyway, back to membership. We'd love to have a conversation on membership. We are a membership organization. You can find information on the website, businessdevelopmentguild.com, and please reach out to any of us with any questions. Number of opportunities to get involved. We have chapters. We started here in Phoenix. We have a Southern California chapter. Denver, Colorado started in February of this year, so we're really excited about that. And we have a number of conversations in folks in other markets. So if you are in, I know we have multiple states represented today. So if there's any interest in starting a market in a different geography, again, we like to have that conversation as well. All right, something that we're very proud of, and we're finishing up year 4 of our certification process, and that is the Professional Business Developer Curriculum. It is a 12-class course that is run over 6 months from this year, from June to November, taught by industry professionals. Our module 6 is our last one of the year, and that's Tuesday, November 17th. It will kick off again in the spring. We changed the name from Certified Business Developer for the first couple of years to Professional Business Developer. And so we're gonna have more information about next year for live classes, but we are also looking to go a 24/7 on-demand live. So stay tuned for more information about that. That's something that we're really excited about as well. With that, okay. Crystal Keilholz, who is a manager of business development at Rosendin Electric, is our new, as of this year, president of the Phoenix chapter. And Crystal, may I turn it over to you?
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Hi, everyone. So as Joe mentioned, I am the Business Development Guild Phoenix chapter president. And I just want to say thank you all so much just for joining us for our first ever virtual workshop. We're really excited to have you guys all here today. Typically, most of you guys know, or those who have been part of the Business Development Guild in the past, we normally have a symposium this time of year. But with the virtual setting, we decided to kind of shift gears, postpone that until early next year and try a workshop. So want to say thank you so much to Burns & McDonnell for joining us today, and even Denise for putting all the effort into this workshop that you guys all joined us here for today. And then a special thank you to our sponsors, Atmosphere Commercial Interiors and Steelcase. Without sponsors like them, we wouldn't be able to put on workshops like this. So we're really, really excited. Believe they have an infomercial prepared for today. Joe, do we have that ready?
Yes, okay. This is another.
So while he's getting that going, they put together a very
Yes.
exciting infomercial to share with everybody to help us kick off today's workshop. So that should be coming up on the screen here momentarily. Possibly.
Yes. Okay. What it is I'm trying to get to a link that is on, no, I'm sorry. Hang on, everybody. Okay. Okay. There we go.
Oh, I think you got it.
All right, sorry for the delay.
No problem. Possibly.
Welcome to Atmosphere Commercial Interiors.
We can't see it, Joe.
And some of you may know me.
You can't see it?
No, it might be on your other screen.
And at Atmosphere Commercial Interiors,
Oh my goodness.
It's all right. We're working through this.
We're working through it. We're working through it.
You have a lot of support.
I appreciate that, everybody. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to,
get it, what we get for trying to be so savvy.
how about now?
There we go. Start it over.
All right.
Yeah, please, that's not a good view.
All right, so we're kicking off the event with this wonderful video as soon as we get it started.
And Joe, back it up. To guide our team. Do not cut me short, Joe. Okay. Welcome to Atmosphere Commercial Interiors. I'm Laura Davis, and some of you may know me as the Beacon Guild's badass. And at Atmosphere Commercial Interiors, my role as a workplace consultant is to guide our team in creating spaces for people who like to work. So come check out our work lab, and you'll see how we do just that. Now I'd like to pass it over to Jeff Anderson, our regional VP, to tell you a little bit more about Atmosphere.
Thank you, Laura. Atmosphere Commercial Interiors is proud to be involved in the BD. During these times, there's nothing more critical to an organization than a dynamic business development. Atmosphere is committed to helping organizations build a case for peace. The office environment is changing as a result of the pandemic, but it will still be critical to company culture and growth. We can provide the expertise and products to help companies successfully navigate their workplace. We are one of the largest office furniture dealers in the country, with 8 locations across the United States and over 350 members. As a matter of fact, Atmosphere Arizona recently celebrated our centennial anniversary in 2019. And we look forward to serving the Valley's businesses for the next time. Now I'm going to toss it over to Ryan Brody from Steelcase.
Thanks, Jeff. Steelcase is the world's largest provider of quality office, education, and health spaces. And we have the chance to learn from our clients how we can continuously improve and create value. As with any business development plan, the ability to communicate what your value will be benefit to your prospective client is a key to your success. As we all live through these unprecedented times, the value that Steelcase brings is our ability to use our research and learnings to design, make, and deliver products that allow workers, and workplace to evolve and progress. In the coming days and weeks, we're going to help people return to a better workplace, which moves us to a better economy and better days ahead. Thank you for participating in this meeting event. Thank you for letting us be a part of this great kickoff.
Thank you, Joe, for sharing that. So sorry about the technical difficulties, everybody. This was our first attempt at a video sponsorship, which we were truly excited about. So maybe Joe can send it out after to everybody so everybody can get a better view of it, because I know the sound was a little spotty. It was for me too. So thank you for bringing that up. And thank you again to Laura and all the effort in the video. Well done, Atmosphere and Steelcase. Can't wait to see the actual link come through, and so we can all, check it out. So if you are interested in being a sponsor in the future for any of the Business Development Guild events, Laura Davis and myself are part of the sponsorship committee here at Business Development Guild. Please feel free to reach out to us anytime, and we'd be more than happy to look forward to just having you be a sponsor, and then any type of creative ideas to get your name out there. We would love to be open to that. Next slide. And then, as I mentioned, Laura is part of the sponsorship committee, but she's also part of the advisory board along with myself and everybody that you see on the screen. The whole team has put a lot of effort into this workshop today, so just thank you for our advisory board. And then if anybody's on the call is interested in being part of one of our Phoenix chapter committees, you'll see the names on the site. Please reach out to me or Joe, and we'll be more than happy to guide you in the right direction. But we are definitely looking for committee members right now, especially to kick off 2021. So if you're interested in helping us build up our membership base, sponsorships, event committees, or program committees, please let us know, and we'd be interested to hearing from you. All right, so just a couple last announcements before we jump right into this workshop today. November 17th, as Joe mentioned, is the Professional Business Developer Module 6 classes. You don't want to miss out on these ones. It's the last one, and it's Know Your Leadership Style for the first course, Class 1, and Class 2 is Client for Life. And then we also are planning for the Phoenix chapter, a holiday mixer and the Professional Business Developer graduation. We're going to actually include all chapters in this, so more to come on this event, December 15th. It will be virtual, and then we have some exciting stuff coming for January, so stay tuned for more information. All right, so I don't want to keep you guys any longer. We're going to go ahead and hand this off to Joel and William. Thank you guys for joining us today, and we're really excited to hear what you have prepared.
All right, appreciate that. Let me start to share my screen here. All right, if I could get a quick confirmation on that.
Yeah, we can see it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, everybody. Crystal, Denise, the advisory board, thank you guys for giving us the platform and the opportunity to share our story. This is a workshop, so feel free as we go through this to ask questions, interrupt. I'd like to see this being more engaging. We're going to go through about 20 slides here. We're going to go through them pretty quick, and then I'm going to open up the tool, the Excel spreadsheet that will serve as the takeaway for you guys to utilize to the best of your abilities within your organization. So quick introduction. My name is Joel Canchola, and I am the Construction Design Build Division Manager, leading those design build efforts for Burns & Mac with a focus on Arizona and the Southwest region. I'm a local Arizonan, born and raised. My professional experience has been in the Arizona market, and that's where most of my expertise comes from. Primarily circled around a large capital projects, focus both private and public. Billy, if you can introduce yourself.
Sure. Yeah. You guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. Got a good connection here. My name is Billy Price. You saw William Price on our previous slide. I am actually the third William Price, so I used to a lot of nicknames. You call me whatever you want, as long as it's not derogatory, I guess. I'm the division manager for our global facility services, which is a fancy way of saying I'm the manager of our facilities construction and design group here, co-manager along with Joel. I've been with Burns & McDonnell for 8.5 years this December. The first 6 of those years, I was in the world headquarters at Kansas City. I'm an architect by trade, licensed in 16 states. Most of them are out west. Before Burns & McDonnell, I worked for 4 different companies on the West Coast, East Coast, and then a little bit in the UK for a while. I moved my wife and my 2 daughters who are 6 and 4. I did a practice that started out, it was me and 2 other people, and all we did was design for facilities. And it ranges from Class A office buildings to power plants to substation buildings. Now we're up to 15 with a construction presence, and I'd say it's taken me 638 days to find someone like Joel to penetrate the local market here and insert ourselves into the urban fabric as a construction design build company. And since then, we really consider each other brothers from another mother. We've locked arms and walked forward. And what we'd like to do today is pay it forward. What we've learned, I wish I had a workshop like this. I wish I had known about the BD Guild a lot sooner. And so my hope for this workshop is for you to interrupt us quite a bit, for you to learn a little bit about Burns & McDonnell and the process, and then our journey from nearly scratch to today, and how we did it. So with that, I'll give it back to Joel to go through the TOC.
Yeah. So one of the things that in having conversations and dialogue with Crystal and Denise that came about were some common, company and individual business development challenges. So I just wanted to throw a snapshot of some of those that were the top common ones out there, and I categorized them in what I see as 4 different underlining statements or issues. And that's brand identity, products and services, client profiling, and market assessment. So some of the challenges that come about, and I'll just read through a couple of these and we'll move on, is from a brand identity standpoint, is do we really know who we are and where are we going? And that's where your mission, vision, and values come in. Do they exist? Are they easy to apply? Are they relevant? And can you recite them? And coupled with that is a business plan. Personally, I'm not a fan of a business plan that sits on a shelf and collects dust. It should be a living, breathing document that inspires people and motivates the masses. So that hopefully we've put together a template that becomes a living and breathing document for you guys. Goals and objectives, does everybody know them? Are they clearly defined? Do you have KPI and metrics that everyone's on the same page with? Products and services, what do you do, what you don't do, and how you do it? What are your differentiators? Do you really truly know them? And what are your client offerings? Client profiling, who you do it for and who needs it. Who is your ideal client? What do they need? Who's an okay client? Who's a client to stay away from? Getting to know your clients is very important, and more importantly, having those triggers to know when to act upon things, know when to run away, having good ears and eyes to know when to pass it off or include some of your subject matter experts within your organization. And ultimately, market assessment. Do you truly understand the market value? What sectors you play in, sub-markets, and the trends for each one of those? Are they on the rise or are they on the fall? Do they need a pivot? And what's your market control? Where are you? And where do you do great? And where do you do bad? And where do you just do okay in? And then market wish list. What markets do you like to be in? So these were kind of underlining common things that seem to be amongst the populace. And depending on how well your organization and yourself, are very clear on those things, that can make you feel extremely confident and ready to capture the world. Or if it's pretty gray and unclear, it can make you feel a little problematic and have some problematic traits and feelings. It can make you feel in the dark, not with lack of direction, no feedback, not necessarily having a seat at the table, so to speak. It makes you feel that you're stuck on mute. If you can relate to these Zoom meetings now where we forget to unmute ourselves, it can make you feel like your lips are moving but you're not being heard. It can make you feel inexperienced if you lack the technical knowledge or the operations experience. And this BD profession, we all have different walks of life. So some didn't come from the AEC industry. Some have been what I consider converts that come in from other industries, and that's okay too. And it could be, you could be a little confused and not necessarily understanding the big picture, the strategic plan and the business plan. So for the goal for today is to, for one, say you're not alone. And no matter what your background is, no matter if you've been an industry professional or converting into the AEC industry, you need the right tools and you need some direction. So we're going to share our journey, as Billy kind of described, from the perspective of a global and national organization entering into a local and regional market and penetrating that market and capturing some clients. I hope to hear some of your guys' journeys. So jump in, feel free to share your stories and if anything jumps out to you as we go along this presentation. We have created what I consider a universal template. It's a simple Excel file for you to use as you see fit, and it's really a mixed bag. I've taken bits and pieces from things that I see others do well and I like, and I've kind of created my own Excel spreadsheet here, and Billy and I have put some skin in the game and tweaked it as we went. So that's what you'll see. And then ultimately what I call a one-pager, and this is the ultimate goal, that one-pager for us is used as a tool to get everyone on the same page. Think of it as an executive summary that you can put in the back pocket of all of your employees, and they've got a cheat sheet, if you will. So we're going to run you through a Burns and Mac example of that, so you understand what we're saying when we say one pager, and ultimately inspire a shared vision, because that's what we're here to do is inspire all of our employees to have a shared vision and get motivated on what we're trying to do. With that, Crystal or Denise, is there anything else in particular that you'd like to capture before I move on?
No, it sounds great to me so far. And I'm
Okay,
sorry,
great.
for some reason I can't unvideo myself.
It's okay. You've got the snacks going on.
I think you covered everything we talked about, so I think we're good right now.
All right, great. So Billy has a lot more tenure at Burns and McDonnell, being rooted from the Kansas City headquarters. So I'm going to have him walk you through the Burns and McDonnell history really quick.
Sure, we'll do. I'll zip through these, and it's just to give you some context as to where our template and our plan come from, because we've got a strong national and a strong local presence that often butt heads and often work really well together. So about Burns and McDonnell, that's a picture of our headquarters in Kansas City. That's one of 4 buildings now that we designed, built ourselves, and then sold back to the developer on the land. Van Trust Real Estate, actually, they have a presence in Phoenix as well. So go ahead, next slide, Joel. So despite the youth of our practice footprint here in Arizona, Burns and McDonnell is really quite old. They're 122 years old. First started as an engineering company that did water and power. And from there, it sort of morphed into transmission distribution, and then took on aviation and federal and several other entities. And eventually the global facilities practice was born about 7 years ago. But within that, our local young presence practice operates with the experience of a national footprint that has over 25 years of construction and more than 1,000 construction employees. So you have a core service list you can see there, and that mimics the construction services below, and the list to the right. We're heavy on lead, we're heavy on BIM, we're heavy on safety, And just last week, I mean, I was surprised by some of the employee owners that we have in house. I learned we had a full-time geologist. So if you got any more questions about Burns and Mac, let me know. Please give me a call after this. Go ahead, next slide. We've got over 55 offices. Once you get into the field office locations, it becomes quite numerous. As you can see, we kind of cover the coasts and then right down the middle. Most of the employees are now outside of the world headquarters. So in Kansas City, we've got about 3,400. Outside of Kansas City, we've got nearly 3,400. And as you can see, we have an international presence as well. Some are field offices, but we do have a large presence in Calgary, Mumbai, Mexico City, and now over in Birmingham in the UK. Go ahead, next slide. So we're over 7,000 employees. That number was bumping up towards 8. I'm not sure where it's at now. It changes every day. Like I said, we have numerous offices. Top 10, 500 design firms, and then we are 100% employee owned. We have an ESOP. If you have any questions about that, also let me know. So it's a pretty great deal. Next slide. And then this slide is probably my favorite when we do a Burns and Mac pitch. We like to say we do everything, but when it comes down to the nuts and bolts, just 8.5 years with Burns and Mac. As an architect, I've literally crossed paths and worked with people in all these markets that you're seeing in this graphic. So it's really quite diverse. And we hope that the template that we show you today and the journey that we've taken here locally sort of speaks to not only one of these markets, but all of them at the same time, and speaks to large firms, because there are much larger firms than Burns and Mac, like the AECom and the Jacobs. And then there's really small firms, which we sort of are Joel and I akin ourselves to here in Arizona versus the national practice for Burns and Mac. So next slide. And we try to bring it all together, and here's where we really pride ourselves, and it's our sweet spot. And this is really what we try to we target with our marketing and business development within this framework. We have everything under one roof. We love to do design build as one team, but even within what you're seeing here, we like to partner with other local firms and national firms depending upon the scopes of work and skill set. So design build is in everything we do. Neither is EPC, but neither is design only, and neither is construction only. We like a good, healthy mix of all of that, and it really takes partnerships with local AE firms as well. So next slide. And then, as anybody would agree, predictability and consistency are key. Denise, I love your email signature. I think it says 86.2% repeat business. I think that's percentage. Be sure to update that if that ever increases. I love that stat. We pride ourselves on that too, and this is how we do it. We do scope, risk, and resources. And we use these 3 categories to sort of sew that together with knowing our region, knowing our backyard, and knowing our local competition, and going back to headquarters for help. So next slide. So enough about Burns and Mac as a whole. I would like to start to tailor this and drill down into the funnel. Last year, we took a pause for cause to reevaluate what we're doing in the Southwest. And as a national practice, we made a national decision to push construction in the local backyard of Arizona in the Southwest, as you can see from this graphic here. So what that does is, you go to the next slide. Within our global facilities group, we have around 500 employees or so now on the national practice. But once you get to Arizona, there's 120 plus engineers and architects in our office here in Phoenix, and probably 7 or so in the Tucson office that we have. But Joel and I's team really distills down to about 14, 15 people. And in order to cover a whole state or anything outside of that, we got to divide and conquer. And as you can see from the Venn diagram here, we've divided our staff. We divided the state with our staff, as Asif Kazimi, who's on this presentation, can attest to. We start giving people responsibilities of who, what, where, and why, and when it comes to geography. Go to the next slide. And then I'll parlay over to Joel. So this presentation is sort of taking an evolution of our practice as well. I came from world headquarters. I had no contacts in Arizona. I only lived and breathed Burns and McDonnell and how we worked, but really I needed a local connection and a construction connection And so this is where it kind of transitions into what we leaned on Hoel heavily for, is the market research here locally.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to that previous slide really quick. So one thing that I did was when I first got here is really understand, what has been the history of Burns and McDonnell within Arizona. So we pulled all the historic data and overlaid, historic projects and clients, as well as active existing projects and clients, both in the public and private sectors, to overlay and cross sell and divide and conquer, as Billy alluded and described to. And then with that, the local market research, again, having been, spent my entire career in the Arizona market, I quickly, that's the opportunity I saw very quickly, was to jump on the way the local Arizona market speaks, the sectors, the major markets, submarkets, and translate that. I quickly noticed that we needed a Burns and Mac translator. And really it was me. I needed the Burns and Mac translator because there were business lanes and global practice divisions that I didn't quite understand on how to connect that to the local Arizona market that I've grown to know my professional career. So a quick shout out to Rebecca Morris, who I believe is on. They do a phenomenal job at Asbex on providing the data and reflecting how the local Arizona AEC industry analyzes and assesses and trends those markets. So what you're seeing here is a combination of some of that data and analytics that Asbex has put together, coupled with some that GPEC has put together. We've had some national reports, coming reports, regional reports that we've also utilized, and ultimately with our clients. Our clients are clients that have a national and global presence, so they have internal analytics themselves. So that's what I started out with, is let's talk Arizona market and let's start connecting dots. And then we took those markets with Burns and McDonnell resources within the Arizona market, within the Southwest region and the national portfolio, and said, we need to come up with some synergies. What do we have by way of market synergies, our current staff and talents, both in the Phoenix office as well as the Southwest regional other offices and the national offices, so that we can leverage our national portfolio and overlay our national clients, our national resources, and our subject matter experts to have a very targeted approach in Arizona and the Southwest, and think of it as a digital camera. We zoom in as much as we need and we pan out. And that gave us a really good optics on, ease of entry. So what we did then is do a quick SWOT analysis. I won't go through the details of our SWOT analysis. I'm sure many have already done SWOT analyses within their organizations. So we did a quick SWOT analysis to understand, where we have that ease of entry. And ultimately we came up with a one-pager, and we'll get into the Excel spreadsheet soon, so we can dive into some of the details here. But at the end of the day, this one-pager for us, as you can see here, it inspires a shared vision. It's your cheat sheet. So if you look at our organization, and a lot of your guys' organizations are very similar, you've got different departments and different business lanes, and we're all running our own different races, right? But we don't necessarily, we create silos as a result. So this one pager became so critical and important for us to break down some walls and silos. And it serves as an executive summary for the year that clearly defines your strategic initiatives, your KPI, your goals and objectives, so that you can take this and essentially put it in everybody's back pocket, and it's their cheat sheet. They can reference to it. You train them to be your eyes and ears, to recognize those trigger statements or trigger conversations and pull it out as needed, and know how to act. So that's the other side of it, enabling others to act, empower yourself. So as Billy mentioned earlier, our group, our Billy and I's specific group, we're about 12 or 15, but we're 120 employee owners in Arizona. So with us to utilize this one pager and train and motivate and promote and educate all 120 employee owners in Arizona, Now we're by far more than the 12 or 15 people that we have. So if they can all be eyes and ears for us, that's a real movement. So ultimately, utilizing that, we also came up with a quick and easy brand statement that we felt is something that we can stand behind, give it our own personal signature statement on what we truly believe in. And that's this, and this is coming from a dumb construction guy and a fancy architect. So I'm sure others can make it nicer and cool, but we have passion behind this statement. And that is, we believe everything we do makes a difference. We make the world a more amazing place. Our services uncover solutions clients never thought possible, providing a better way and a better experience. We are designed to build. So that's our brand statement, and we believe it. And everything we do, if we're ever in a moment that we're lost, we pull that out, and that provides us clarity on how to make those difficult decisions on which way we go. So with that, I'm going to bring up our worksheet. You guys can see the worksheet here, right? The Excel spreadsheet?
I can, but
Yeah, we can see it.
Perfect. So I'm hoping that we could get a little more interactive, and feel free to jump in. So this is an Excel spreadsheet. Like I said, it's a mixed bag from things that I've pulled from different templates and plans that I've seen throughout the years. And each tab has its own purpose. So real quick, company overview, products and services, a SWOT analysis, client profile, client strategies, market research, market analysis, market strategy, affiliation strategies. And there's some other templates here that I didn't include for the purpose of this presentations, but they're available in more detail. If that's creating a marketing budget, things of that nature, more financial and other things. And then ultimately the one pager. Yes.
Do you mind increasing the size just a little bit? It's a little hard
Not at all.
to see. Thank you. I think that's going to be better. Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries at all. So with that in mind, I call this a company description worksheet. And that's your mission statement, vision statement, values, and then in goals. And I just want to touch on a couple of things. When I say mission statement, I think if we asked everyone in this virtual room, what is a mission statement, you're going to get, 50 different answers for the different 50 people, right? For me, a mission statement should truly describe what you do and your reason for being. That way it's very clear, different than a vision. To me, your vision is what you ultimately want to become at full maturity, and focus on the type of organization and reputation. And then, philosophy and values is our approach on that is really more declarations to live by. So I'll give you a quick example for us. A declaration to live by for us is partners over profits. That's a simple statement. And when you're back against the wall with a client, is that a partner, or is it just simply making a profit? Is a one-off job? So choose the partnership road all the time. And another one that we state is ordinary projects for extraordinary clients. In other words, if that project in itself wouldn't be a typical Burns and Mac project, but that client is an ideal client, then we'll do whatever they ask us to do. Quite simple. So those are quick examples there. And then ultimately, what's good is to develop just goals. And this is short-term goals. And I break these down as immediate hurdles to fix. There's some obvious things that don't need a whole lot of interaction and discussion that we all know needs to be fixed in our organization. So put them down on a piece of paper, have quick conversations, and let's get them taken care of. That's what your immediate hurdles to fix are. And those should be typically taken care of in 90 days or less. And then your ideal, your 1-year goals and objectives, long-term, more focused on key performance indicators that can be measured and sustained over time. The measurement against those are your milestones. A 90-day action plan for your immediate goals, your 1-year action plan for your 1-year goals and performance KPI, and 2-year. Usually your 2-year sample size can trend itself for 5 years, and then from there, anything beyond that, I think, is just unrealistic because there's just too many crystal balls, that gets thrown our way. Target market, and this is where you not only fill out just your target market, but your ideal customer. Like, what would a Grand Slam customer be? And for us at Burns and McDonnell, it's a client that has a global and national presence that happens to be in our backyard, and that is looking to expand and has complex products, and that needs them in a turnkey solution and in a pretty aggressive time frame. That's a Grand Slam for us. We can single source, integrated, design, build, provide solutions for that, both locally and nationally and regionally, for that entire client's portfolio needs. So that would be a quick example for a Grand Slam for us. I think it's helpful to have a state of the industry, so to speak. I left this generic information in here just as an example. And again, this is from a construction professional's mindset. So, quick examples: labor, it's always a challenge, shortage, skilled and professional labor. Materials, they're always moving around, escalations. Technology, as our industry advances, some people are ahead of that technology curve, some people are behind. And changes and trends on the industry as a whole. And then lastly, key industry competitors, both direct competitors and indirect competitors. So this is what I call that company description worksheet. Any questions or comments on this before I move on to the next tab?
I got a couple of points as well. Someone else.
Yeah.
To go back to the mission statement. So our team's mission statement is not the same as our national or international company's mission statement. And I think that's really important to note. These boxes have to be full of something that on your worst day as a professional for the company that you work for, you come back to this Excel file and you read it, and it should offer you a little bit of a reset. So ours, I'm not a huge fan of our corporate mission statement, but once you drill down into our Arizona location, it gets a little better. But then when it becomes personal for our team here locally, then that really gets me going. That enables me to inspire the team. And to another point to all this is that we created this Excel file and this template to turn what normally is in most corporate environments is a hierarchy, in that you've got people in charge that are doing stuff and everybody else underneath those people are doing that. What we're trying to do is push the hierarchy over flat onto the ground and have it be a nodal network between each other locally, between the bigger office here in Phoenix, and then between the greater company as a whole nationally. So I think no matter what size your company is, I think everyone can strive for that and sort of break down the barriers and enable people to become specialists, all the while coming back to this worksheet to gravitate towards a single mission.
No, great point. And to add on to that, I would say, this template, when we send it off and you guys have it live to use on your own, use it to your own freedom. Like, don't let, as Billy alluded to, our corporate mission and vision statement and values don't necessarily translate down to boots on the ground in Phoenix, Arizona. So we honored our corporate statements and vision, mission, and values. So we're not out of bounds, but we made it our own, and we crafted our own statement that people here can really believe in and buy into and know what it means. Products and services. I'll zoom into this as well, as I imagine it needs to be. So products and services, what do you sell and what services do you offer? And just equally as important it is to know what you sell, what products and services you offer, is what you do not and should not sell and offer, and to stay away from. And you'd be surprised, some of our most tenured individuals, still take for granted what the organizations actually do and what they don't do. And many times, You know, I'll have individuals that come in with an opportunity they think is the next greatest thing. And Billy and I are like, we don't do that. You know, it's like, why would you tell them we do that? Yeah. Yeah. So, and if you can relate to that, it's if we're all on the same page, what we don't do and what we absolutely do. Next section, special benefits and solutions. I think it's extremely important that you clearly understand the problems that your clients have. What are the main problems that they have, and what are your solutions to provide, you know, to make life easier for those clients on those specific problems. Unique and proprietary features. Try to give a couple quick little examples of that. You know, if you're a butler builder, a pre-engineered metal building distributor, that might be an exclusive agreement that's offered. Or if you're in automations and controls and you have a proprietary software or program or means and method that you provide, that's your proprietary feature and exclusive agreement that you offer. Those are your differentiators. If you manufacture a specific product, or if you have proprietary processes that are unique to you, that gives you your competitive advantage. I think those are important to understand and share within the organization, because we assume that people know, and really, you know, they're in the dark. So equally as important is to understand the limitations and liabilities that you don't have, and it's the same exact example. So maybe your competitor has proprietary automation and controls that they offer and you don't. You know, how do you overcome that? What are those things that make them a little more unique than you, and how are you accounting for that? As far as production and delivery, this to me is more a description of how you're structured in terms of your fee assessment, fee calculation, and that exchange of value for services. And these are very just generic ranges here that I think are the main goal that I'd like for each one of you to understand here is to, you know, to have those metrics and know them, and share them so that you can speak confidently to what they are. These are the metrics and the KPI. So again, from a perspective of a construction organization, typical fees can range between 4% and 8%, depending on what it is. If it's negotiated, more on the 6% to 8%, hard bid 4% to 6%. And then also depending on the contract value and the complexity of the project, it could be down as little as 4% or even less on much larger projects above $20 million, $25 million threshold. So it's always good just to understand these, so that, you know, again, having those triggers to know whether a client is a client that's worth pursuing and engaging and bringing back to you know, the office and the execution team, and knowing your position in that market, knowing these numbers. Are you the low end? Are you in the middle range? Are you high end? It's if you don't know that, then, you know, you can't really align and connect dots with clients that are willing to pay that high end, or really are the middle of the run budgeted clients, or really they don't care about relationships and partnerships. They just want the lowest number. And there are clients like that. We all know that. So the important thing is knowing your sweet spot and your ideal contract value and project type, and being able to have those discussions with clients to know quickly whether that's a client that's worth bringing back to the office or not. And then key partnerships. As Billy described earlier, you know, we really don't see anybody as competitors. We see everybody as partners, because there's often times where we don't do the architectural in-house, or sometimes we don't do engineering. Sometimes, you know, we wear all hats. So knowing your key partnerships and vendors and suppliers for specific markets and sectors, so that they can help shore you up, that's critical.
Hey, Joel, before we move
Yes.
to the next tab to keep this interactive, we have a question.
Absolutely.
The question was, how many personnel do you involve in the planning process at the local level?
Yeah, sorry, I saw that. I tried to answer and I replied back to the wrong person.
That's okay. I can read them off so everybody can hear.
No, out of our smaller local team, we try to involve 4 to 5 people until we get the strategy down pat, and then we open it up to constructive criticism and changes to the greater group. And then on a national level, Joel and I are on a group of about 75 or more nationally. So, and then to add to Joel's point on this products and services worksheet, I'm always stuck in this metaphor of like bumper bowling, right? You want to bowl as if you have the bumpers and then you don't need them. So the two sides are, you've got corporate legal. I don't know how many companies out there have as robust of a legal team as Burns and McDonnell does, but they're, I would say, severely conservative, but for good reason. So that's one of the bumpers. And then you've got corporate entrepreneurial strategy, which is like just blow and go. So you got to find yourself somewhere in there. And that's sort of where he's talking about with your production and delivery. What size of project, with who, what kind of contract, what's the profit, what's the rate sheet, all of that stuff sort of fits down the lane. And when you're going BD, you got to throw the ball in the right place. So, no, I'm not a bowler. I'm terrible at bowling. The metaphor just works for me.
All right, moving on to our SWOT analysis, and I won't go through this in detail, but I'll just give you kind of I'll give you input on our perspective, on our goggles, and how we look at it. So SWOT analysis, when I look at strengths, I think that if there's any takeaways today, it's going to be this. When I look at strengths, I look at it as helpful internal attributes of the organization. So think of it as, what do we do great? And what do we do that is working in our favor? That to me would be a strength, internal. And then weaknesses would be harmful internal attributes of the organization. So in other words, what don't we do great? And where do we keep continuing getting in our own way? And then from the opportunities and threats side, that's where I now look externally. So opportunities, helpful external attributes of the environment. So in other words, what about the market is working in our favor? And how do we capitalize on that? And then of course the threats, what about the market is not working, is not working in our favor and is working against us? And what do we not know enough about the market? And where do we need to educate ourselves? So that's how I look at it. I know that there's all kinds of different ways of putting together SWOT analysis. But this is what I feel has been most productive approach to it, and we decide to apply that to products and services, branding and marketing, staff and HR, financial positions, operation and management, and the market. So ultimately, as you go through these underlining statements or takeaways down below, and I left it filled in for a couple samples. Ultimately, you want to come away with, can any of your strengths help with improving your weaknesses or combating your threats? If so, describe them below and just put them down. Again, categorized by those main categories. And then out of that will become action plans. So based on the information above, what are your immediate goals and next steps? That's your action plan. And what are your long-term goals and next steps? Any quick questions on that or additional input? Billy, thoughts? Anything I missed?
No, I'm interested to know how many folks out there incorporate the SWOT plan into their business development plan every year. I mean, this is a living document, but I know a lot of companies do it on a yearly basis. How often do the folks out there do it? It's pretty uncomfortable if you're honest with yourself.
We don't.
Sounds like I see Jerry Lynn. Jerry Lynn says we do. Jerry, how often do you do? Hi, by the way, Jerry Lynn, how are you?
Sometimes you need a mediator too, someone that's not even.
Sorry, I was typing and then I realized I could just speak to you guys.
Yes,
so actually,
please do.
We're rebuilding our BD structure right now, and with that, we are implementing the entire SWOT. So this is super helpful for me because we've already been doing some of this already, but it's really nice to see that, you know, how you guys have done it. But we are going market by market, each sector, and it's exciting, but it's also painful. Not
Absolutely.
gonna lie, but I feel like we need that, to get to where
Absolutely.
we need to be, really honest and transparent, but I think it's fantastic. But we are actually in the process of it right now.
Yeah,
So.
no, good point. And it is uncomfortable, and it needs to be, because those hard discussions, and that's why these things are so important to put on paper. It removes all the emotions and the personal agendas, and it puts the real, true, challenging, hurdles on black and white. So I always say, be soft on the personalities, but hard on the issues. And you get the hard issues on paper, and you get the right minds in the room, and have, energetic, collaborative conversations to find creative solutions. So good to hear.
Thank
Any other
you.
questions or comments on SWOT analysis? Cool.
Wait, we just got a question actually on SWOT.
Okay.
What is an example of adjustments you made based off SWOT findings?
Great question. Billy, you want to take that?
Yeah, I'd love to. So our cultural and our being as an organism here in Arizona as a team was design only when we first started. So then you take on construction and you redo the SWOT, and then you are a different type of animal in a different type of environment. And then once you formulate an idea on how to approach the market as a construction design build entity, then you've got to communicate that back up to a national leadership level and then to our supervisor level. And then we're forced to do the SWOT analysis again with them. So really, I think one of the hallmarks about Burns and Mac, unfortunately, for me in the beginning, I was kind of sensitive to it because it points out your failings. We're forced to do a SWOT very often, almost on like a monthly basis, because when we check in with supervisors on the local and the national level, they're constantly asking us questions that tie into the SWOT analysis. So we've been better served, Joel and I and the team, to do this to ourselves before other people do it to us on a monthly basis. So.
Absolutely. If I can add on to that, one of the ones that I feel that was a big adjustment or takeaway, historically, when I was looking at the data for Burns and McDonnell and the revenue and market gains and gross and net margins and billability, I was realizing that we were also accounting for workflow that comes from other regional offices and that are fed to us from world headquarters. So for me, trying to have clear optics on our position and our amount of work and capture for the Arizona market, quickly muddied the waters. So in this operations and management takeaway here, you'll see that first one, number one, internal clients. That's recognizing our other Burns and Mac regional offices as internal clients, and so that we're not becoming too dependent on internal clients, other regional offices feeding us work, and we're not gaining false confidence in our revenues to the point that it keeps us from having a very targeted focus on the local and regional market and clients, if that makes sense. So that was a good question.
I think it's where it's really helped us is to steer away from putting ourselves in a silo and just doing work that helps out other offices and pushing us back into our own backyard. And then once we're there with a couple clients, not pushing us into a silo of doing just downtown Phoenix clients, it's pulling us back out and doing clients elsewhere in Arizona or New Mexico. It has diversified us by looking at our SWOT analysis.
Absolutely. I'll move on to the client profile worksheet, and I'll zoom in on that. So clients, I don't think people spend enough time profiling a client. And what I mean by that is not looking at individual clients, but looking at a profile of which fits the ideal client. So think of it as, it's been years since I've been on the dating scene, but if you were on the dating scene, like what would be your ideal, wife or husband? You don't speak of the individual, you speak of the profile of which you want to attract, right? So I think we in this industry could do a much better job at defining and recognizing the profile, and then you're interviewing clients to see if they meet that profile or not, and not forcing a client to meet a profile that doesn't align with your solution offerings and your differentiators. Then that's where I think a lot of us have forced clients into our portfolio that turns out bad, because they should have never been a client to begin with. You should have passed them on to somebody else that's more suited for that particular client. So in this particular client profile worksheet, again, I think it's equally important that you understand the client's mission and statement, their reason for being and what they do, and ultimately their vision, what they ultimately want to become, their values and declarations that they live by, and their market relevance. What sectors are they in? What major markets are they in? What sub-markets do they consistently play in? And of course, the geographic relevance. Are they in your backyard? Are they in your region? And where else do they need to go? And can you go with them or not? And then client history. So this client awareness and exposure, I think, is super critical as well to understand, because the existing clients with existing projects, that's pretty easy. You've got them already, right? And then the hierarchy goes down to existing clients with no projects active, and then new clients in your existing market, and then new clients in a new market. And that's where that real challenge comes, capturing new clients in a new market. And if you look at this in a timeline, Billy, what were the timelines that you had for this? Do you remember?
I can tell you that no client relationship within a market that you're not in is 3 to 5 years. And then it peels it closer in time intervals than that. If you have a client and you have a history with them, it's 0 to 9 months for a project.
Yeah. So if we were to look at this as a 3 to 5 year, investment versus your existing clients, 0 to 9 months,
Yeah.
And everything else is in between, then you should understand that and should be able to put a strategy to that so that it's understood, and your executive team, your leadership team, your ownership team knows that that's a new client, that's a new market, and it's going to take 3 to 5 years. And if we can get it better, then we can get it better. But they should be all in to help you accelerate that process. But if the expectations aren't clear to begin with, you'll get a feeling of being inadequate or not performing at the expectation. But it's not anything against the individual performance. It's just the data. The data is true. Numbers don't lie. A new client in a new market, it's going to take you 3 to 5 years to penetrate that client.
And in order to shortcut, there's a couple of great points being brought up. Denise, I know you had one. Ops, market leaders, BD, and finance. It will take everybody working together to cleave away from that time and that timeline. And then Zach, I know profits at work. It's such a great point, because even our leadership locally and nationally, hey, you guys are in Arizona now. I want you to have your group up and running within 6 to 9 months, and everybody's billable. And then you're going to hand out lollipops, and it's going to rain Skittles. And then it's like, guys, it doesn't work that way. We actually need your help. As ops and corporate VPs, et cetera. We need your buy-in too. We need you to pick up a shovel just as much as the draftsmen or the draftswomen do. And it just takes a whole team effort.
Yeah, and with that is understanding the client portfolio and the value of that portfolio and where they are in the maturity of that portfolio. So, description and quantity of facilities or assets that they own, operate, and manage, their operations and maintenance annual budgets, capital expenditure budget. And again, this is coming from a perspective that your client is an end user or stakeholder. But this, if you're a subcontractor, switch it over to a general contractor. What is their annual revenue? What markets are they in? If you're a service provider, same thing. Just, you can interchange this to whatever your client is. And then that ultimately should develop your client positioning and capture planning for that client, knowing the client key contacts and having the right client manager on your side to connect with that key contact. So not every single one of you from a BD professional perspective needs to be that interface with that client all the time. A lot of times it's recognizing when that client, key contact would be a perfect fit for, you know, this other person within our organization who's a subject matter expert, and maybe they have similar hobbies and interests and personalities. Put them together and you know, make things kind of happen organically. So that's our client profile worksheet. The client strategy tab, I'm going to zoom in on this, and then Billy, I'm going to have you speak to this one because you have a lot more optics from the national and local connecting of the dots.
And
Yeah.
Billy, before we dive into that, it looks like we have a couple questions that came through too.
Yeah, we do.
And they're more geared towards you, so I think it's perfect timing.
We're the decision makers and buyers for sub GCs, for example. It's not always the pre-con estimating people. Yeah, that is correct. It's with Burns and McDonnell, I think it's where the EO, the employee ownership, comes into play. If Howell has an opportunity and he sees it, then he's got to sell it internally, and then that's got to be sold up the chain of command. Often it is the pre-con and estimating people, but you'd be surprised. We've had people on all staff levels come to us with opportunities that we then we vet against our own standards. Does that answer your question?
Well, it wasn't a question, it was more just an add-on to what you were talking about.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Sorry.
And then we had two questions above that one. Do you think that the 3 to 5 years will be pushed back as a result of not being able to see potential clients? And then, I know that's a big question. And in addition to that, did you have to sell that internally, the 3 to 5 year range?
Yes, we did. And that was sold pre-COVID. And I know that COVID's affected our lives. We have promised less than 3 to 5 years, but that is basically our bottom that we don't want to hit, in other words. So, yeah. And that's a good segue into what you're looking at here. In order to sell that, we use this list of clients. So without looking at all of them, there are 298 clients within Arizona that we've looked at. And then we tried to organize them based on the timing of BD that we talked about before, putting the clients that we don't have a relationship with and in a market that we're not in all the way at the bottom. And then using the clients that we are in our top 25 as a national practice, are in the national business plan, are in an existing market that we have. They are an existing client that we've worked with, and we do have a history with them, and they're here in Arizona. So automatically those come to the top. And the ones that we had come to the top I was surprised that it's not as many as you think it would be once you land here and get your feet wet in the market. And so we've had, there we go, reduce it down to the green ones. Green is for money, right? So within these, this is where most of our energy goes. And because of the relationships that we have that are unique with these, that's how we've promised less than 3 to 5 years. So without diving into the secret sauce, that's more or less where we're at now. That's what we've sold this year, even in a year of COVID.
And to add on to that, so again, this is profiling and connecting dots right here. Just connecting dots. Are they in our radar? Are they in our top 25? Are they in our backyard, in the markets, you know, so on and so forth. But then, you know, it's really understanding that 3 to 5 years, you know, what is the client's forecast and outlook for the following year and the next 2 to 3 years. So this is just showing the forecast for the following year. And we just rate them. Is it a high potential, medium potential, low potential, zero potential, or are we still investigating the potential of what they have for their operations and maintenance and capital expenditure budgets for the following year? And then we just have notes in here on our positioning and capture planning for that. And as the more that we understand that, then now you're really being efficient with the use of your time. So if we've already got a client that we've spoken to and there's zero presence in Arizona and zero potential and there's zero interest to expand out here, then we shouldn't be, you know, touching them every quarter. We've already known that. Maybe every other year, but not every quarter. So this has been very helpful on using our time very efficiently and effectively when it comes to client profiles and client strategies.
And this is where our weekly BD meetings come down to with our project managers and our supervisors. We pull up this list on the side and we pull up the notes and the touches that we've done on a weekly basis. And we overlay the two. So
changing gears to the market research, you saw this earlier on analyzing and just really identifying the local market by way of the sectors, the major markets, the sub-markets, how your organization internally looks at your divisions and your service offerings and your business lanes, connecting those dots and coming up with a priority of those industries that make most sense for your ease of entry and capture planning of those markets. The actual analysis of those markets, again, this is a breakdown of the major markets and the values of those markets. And so you can see here, we've basically identified all the major market sectors and the sub-markets and put together the assessed value for what those are. And then identify our priorities by ranking those. And again, this is all information that, you know, again, shout out to Asbex and some of the other organizations that provide data support and information. Then you get it and you analyze it and you extrapolate it for yourself and go from there. And then a market strategy. This is just a very generic example of overlaying markets and potential products and opportunities with a value and your confidence in capturing that win probability with a forecast and somewhat of a cash flow analysis to, at the end of the day, if you have all your information in here and you collapse it and you look at the bottom line to see, are you hitting your goals and projections that you set out to have in the beginning or not? And then affiliations, again, knowing what affiliations to be a part of that is in alignment with your goals and objectives, and having an actual strategy on your involvement with those affiliations as well. The ultimate plan, again, is this one pager. So I know we're within 15 minutes of the end of the presentation. So this one pager is the ultimate goal and objective to produce. And this, I'll just give you a quick run through on our one pager. This is the Burns and McDonnell, Arizona one pager. And these are our corporate support divisions here, and then our local divisions here, and everything, all these numbers here and goals and objectives for the year roll up to ultimately what our goals are for that. So the design side, that's Billy manages the design side of things. We co-manage it all, but his main focus is and emphasis on the design side. Mine is on the construction side. So at the end of the day, we've locked arms and said we want to have roughly $37 million of design potential and $40 million of construction volume potential to come up with these and projected gross and net income metrics. And then when it all rolls up to collectively together, that's what we're looking to be at. And in order to do that, again, here's our vision, mission, and values. Vision, be the #1 design build EPC contractor in Arizona and the Southwest. Mission, make our clients successful through planning, designing, permitting, constructing, and managing projects, and do it like we own it, be good stewards of their money. And create amazing, that's our corporate statement. So we've kind of expanded on that. Create amazing what? Create amazing impacts, relationships, projects, and partners, and do it all to make the world a more amazing place. These are our divisions here. So broken down by our maturity rating of each division, current staff in each division, projected design and construction volumes for each division, the business lanes that each division operate in, the visions for each division. Again, we have each division coming up with their own vision, mission, and value statements. And then we overlay that with strategic partners by way of existing clients, affiliations, other AEs and trades that we identify as partners. Our internal clients, you heard me describe that earlier. These are other Burns and McDonnell regional offices that we see as internal clients and partners, competitors, and then action plans, immediate action plan, goals and objectives for the following year, 2-year plan, and ultimately a 10-year plan. So a lot of this is blank right now because there's a lot of sensitive information that we're not necessarily ready and available to share. But this is a one-pager. Hopefully that gives you an idea of what that one-pager means. So if you imagine this completely filled out and market it in a way, however you guys want to market, and print it out and hand it over to all of your staff, whether, for us in the Arizona market, it's 120 employee owners. We want to empower, inspire, and promote those 120 employee owners to be business development professionals in addition to their core existence and their core responsibilities. That's where you all become, more than just a bottleneck or feeling in the dark, unsupported, all of that fun stuff. It's inspiring others, finding advocates, and holding people accountable. And the other one thing I want to make on this slide here is names in boxes. Putting names in boxes holds them accountable for those KPI and those volumes. So think of it as, if you're in a pursuit, whether Denise or Crystal, if you guys are meeting with a client in a specific division, let's say for global facility services, and you need someone to go help you sell and execute that, then this document gives you that ability to be on a level playing field with everybody. It gives you that ability to say, hey, Billy, I need you at this meeting because we're not going to meet these KPIs that we established in the early set of the year if you're not at this meeting. And that's where that accountability comes, without the concern or constraint of the hierarchy within organization.
It's happy hour time, I think.
Well, that's where the meeting is going to take place. So with that, I know we're coming down in short time here. Hopefully this was beneficial. And if there are any other questions, please feel free, chime in.
Thanks to everybody that is thanking us. You're welcome. Again, for everybody on the meeting, let's get a lunch outdoors together if you're open for I know maybe a golf outing, whatever. Let's connect and share the love.
I tell you what, I'd just like to do a special thank you to both of you for sharing something like this that you obviously have put a tremendous amount of thought and effort towards, and sharing it to the community that people can use that to help them that may not even impact you guys. So I just think it's a tremendous value and tremendous appreciation. I just want to share of you putting this out in the marketplace like this for our benefit. I mean, it's something like this. You guys somehow make it sound easy. Not sound easy. You make it look easy. But I know that's a tremendous amount of effort that you guys put into this, and for the community's benefit. It's just very kind. It's very appreciative.
Yes.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
What is your business development culture like? Are your seller doers really engaged and actively reaching out to their clients and being able to report valuable updates every week at your weekly BD meetings?
They are. So we've got a seller doer culture. I heard some of you throw that out there. But within that, we do have dedicated business development personnel that have assigned regions, and we do have weekly meetings between all of us.
Okay, thank you.
I see a lot of things jumping in, so I don't know if someone wants to read whatever questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. How challenging it is to keep this real time?
Ooh, yes, ask my wife. The nightly foot massage happens at around 3 p.m. So
because without it, the whole value is that it is real time, correct?
Absolutely.
So,
go ahead. That's a critical thing. So to be very clear, this only works if you really truly work in it, daily, weekly, and it's your living, breathing document. if you're not going to commit to that, it's not going to work. And it's not easy, and it takes a team. And having tools and technology that allows individuals to collaborate within the document simultaneously is very helpful. And holding each other accountable to follow through with your individual clients that you take ownership and understand where they're at in that position is key as well. But it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
We have another question also from Zachary. How long did it take you to create this document?
Oh, good Lord, my entire professional career. Well, like I said in the very beginning, it's a mixed bag. So I've taken things of different, canned templates out there, and always, tweak it to the organization and the organizational needs, and the team that we have. So this particular one, I'd say it's been what, Billy, about 7, 8 months of time that we've actually truly dialed it in with a very clear, collaborative, national and local and regional connecting of the dots, if you will. Billy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it came on in early March, and then the day later we shut the office down. He and I literally didn't.
All because of me.
Yeah, we really didn't meet in person for almost 3 months. So for 3 months, we were virtually putting this thing together to start with, and then it grew from there.
Well, really quick, you guys, both Billy and Howell, I so appreciate all the time you put into this. And we don't all work for corporations with 7,000 plus employees and international presence, but I think everyone can take something away from this today and make it usable to the group they are in.
Love it. Our pleasure.
Absolutely. Final thoughts, anybody?
If someone is starting off from scratch, and let's say it's a $5 to $10 million company, right, or $1 to $10 million company, what would be the first ABCs? What would be the very, very initial steps to kind of kick this off the ground, to kind of push the boat off the dock, so to speak? Any advice on how to really kind of...
Let me make sure I'm understanding clearly.
Yeah.
Say that again.
If somebody's starting from scratch and doesn't have anything, right? But
And what kind of
really
organization?
If the organization, they don't have anything on paper, right?
Okay.
But they see the value of the one sheet, right?
Yep.
But they're starting it from scratch. I mean, what is this, the first most important thing to get the right team in place to kind of start talking about this, or putting some ideas to management to present, saying, hey, this would be good to do? Or
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I'm always a fan of begging for forgiveness rather than asking for permission. So, I force it. I put it together. I analyze it. I connect dots. I ask questions. They have no idea why I'm asking questions, but in the background, I'm doing something, and then I filter it up and say, hey guys, here, look what I put together. What are your thoughts? I find that to be the most effective way, quite honestly. So my suggestion and recommendation to anybody, and I kind of speak with conviction in my time here at Burns & McDonnell, because like Billy said, I came in March, and literally my first day was March 9th, and the world shut down like March 11th or 12th, and I was sent home to work from home. So I was virtually picking everybody's brain. Hey, what do we do with this? How do we handle that? How do we collaborate with other regional offices? What do we do here? Where's the local database and history of us in Arizona? So I was flirting with damn near annoying for everybody, asking all these questions, but no one had any clue. But it was for selfish reasons. It was for me to quickly get up to speed with Burns & McDonnell, so I know exactly how I can add value, how I can contribute, and how I can leverage my local Arizona market and relationships, for that. So, and in the end result is this document that has become quite popular within the Burns & Mac umbrella. And, it wasn't intended for that. It was really just to get as quickly as as possible up to speed and start contributing and adding value.
Yeah, for me, it distills down to two things: data and then knowing your client. You start big, it's just like a funnel, and then pretty soon they'll drop one or two down to the bottom. But you got to start with data. You got to start with somewhere.
That's awesome. No, that's great. Thank you. It's awesome. Crystal?
Yeah, I don't see anything else that's come through the chat. Is there any last questions for anybody before we kind of move on? Joe, do you have a few last announcements, right?
Yeah, maybe we can just kind of go back to the regular screen. Just want to say thank you again to Joelle
Yeah.
and Billy. So thank you very much. It was
Very
really,
welcome.
really helpful.
Thank you both.